Hello everyone. I noticed that many of you wanted to know how to create cityscapes. So here I am today with a tutorial. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first and the foremost thing you must remember at all times is perspective. For example, from which angle you are watching the scene, or how far you are from the scene, and where does the parallel lines meet. You have to figure out all of these first before starting to draw. So imagine these are the parallel lines meeting at one point, because human eyes can't really see parallel lines going straight forever. It is bound to meet at some point, and that certain point is called the vanishing point. The line that goes over the vanishing point is the horizon, which is basically the dividing line between the sky and the ground. Suppose we are watching from here, then the things that are close to our eyes are going to be bigger, and the things that are far away is going to be way smaller. Objects bigger and close to our eyes are going to be more detailed, and the faraway things are going to be less detailed. So this is more or less the basic information you need to kickstart. So now on to the painting. First, we will take a look at the dominant color of our reference. In this case, it's dark blue. So I'm going to fill the entire layer with that dark blue color. Next up, I'm going to take a new layer to figure out the perspective. To lessen our workload, we have the perspective ruler. The center point of this perspective ruler is the vanishing point. There can be more than one vanishing points in an illustration, but I'm just going to show you one, because things can get complicated that way. If you want to know more about vanishing points and perspective, let me know in the comments below. The pink lines are indicating the borders of the road. Now, I'm going to take a few layers below it to start out with some basic shapes and colors. I am using flat brush which has canvas texture. So I'm going to roughly add the paint strokes for the buildings. There's no need to add details at first. Just look at your reference and use the same color or any color of your choice to add there. It should somehow create an illusion of a cityscape. Feel free to use liquify pens to reshape anything weird. You can also use the perspective ruler if you think something is not right. Now it's time for you to carefully observe how I am building the base up. You can always lower the speed if you need it. I'll get back to you soon. By using the circle tool, you can create an illusion that looks like traffic signal light. When you feel like you have all the basic shapes ready, you can move on to the next step. That is to add more details little by little. To do that, we are going to use our second weapon, aka the straight ruler. It's actually our savior to draw the sharp edges properly. Make sure you have taken a new layer to add the details. What we are going to do is to add proper outlines of the buildings. We are basically going to show the sharp edges. Keep an eye at your reference and keep on building more details. Enjoy the process. I'll get back to you to show something fun. So it's time for the fun thing, that is to create the street lights. For that we need the perspective ruler once again, and using that we're going to draw a line on which the lights will be placed. After figuring out where the line would be, we're going to simply use a straight ruler and erase the gaps in between the lights. Remember, the far away the lights are, the smaller the size will be, and also the gaps in between them will decrease. After that, you can reshape them properly and add the posts attached to it. As I told you before, the thing closer to our eyes are going to get more attention. So I'm going to add noticeable details to the street light that is closer to us. And to illuminate those lights, we're going to use Add Blending Mode and an airbrush. Similarly, I'm going to add another set of street lights which are smaller than the previous ones. Now this looks more interesting. And it wasn't really difficult, was it? My sincere apologies to every Japanese speaker out there. I tried my best to replicate the alphabets, but it wasn't really clear to my eyes, so most probably I got all things wrong. So we have some cars going on the road, and thankfully the numbers are not many. I'm just roughly going to make a shape of the car, which is basically a rectangle and a trapezoid on top of it. Then you just add the backlights and half circles for the wheel, and that should be it. In case of bus, it's more or less a square with curvy edges. The rest is basically me adding more defined edges and some little details here and there. Honestly speaking, if you want to make loose paintings like traditional watercolor styled, you can actually skip all these details that I'm trying to add here. But I'm kind of a detail freak, which I don't really like. But it's a habit that I can't really get rid of, so I'm adding more here. The last thing we're going to do is to add the reflection of the lights that we can see in the reference. The picture was probably taken on a rainy night, so we can see the water on the street and the lights reflecting. To replicate that effect, we're going to add wavy strokes instead of straight strokes and slightly blur it afterwards. Now I'm just going to add some more small details, which I think is important. For myself though, I'm not saying it's applicable for everyone. So we are almost at the end of the process. I hope you enjoyed watching and also learned some important things to create cityscapes like this. So that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next week. Till then, take care.